What's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazy Frankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my 4 key game picks NFL Divisional Round Playoff Edition. Before we get into the talk of the divisional round, we got to talk about Wild Card Weekend last weekend. Obviously, the only headline that came out of that, I think you know where I'm going with, of course, was the Lions Cowboys game. Sorry for a little stutter there, but I think a lot of us here are kind of uneasy on what happened in that game, and it was pretty obvious that the refereeing crew was P. Morelli and whoever was whoever was officiating also in that game. I think it was pretty obvious that the defensive pass interference penalty that affected the outcome of the game really was disturbing, because they first called the defensive pass interference penalty on the Cowboys, which would have given the Lions a first down in the key moments in the fourth quarter, got taken back. And it was unbelievable. It's hard for me to explain, and I'm sure a lot of us fans who hate the Cowboys and all just don't understand it. Why? Why did they take that back? And of course, anybody who was watching that game, I mean, the commentators on the booth. One of them is Mike Fiora. He's the guy that used to be the vice president of officiating for the league. And he even said that should have been pass interference. I mean, it's tough. And this is a guy that knows the NFL rules very well. He knows what he's talking about. And I just don't understand why that officiating crew took back that penalty. I mean, that to me was really uncalled for or anything, which really that should have been defensive pass interference on the Cowboys. But the referees and the officiating, they took the flag back, and they took back the penalty, which really forced the Lions to go 3-and-out and give the ball back to the Cowboys, and pretty much they ended up winning the game in the end. But a lot of people who did not notice, there was also another penalty that the refs missed. There was a holding penalty on a fourth down, and it was never called. And that was also in the fourth quarter as well. And I just don't understand it. I mean, you could say, yeah, I do agree with a lot of you people. I think the Lions got screwed in that game. No question about it, the Lions got screwed. They got screwed in that game, and I would think it was obvious that they wanted this to be Dallas and Green Bay, which in all honesty, that should not have been, because I really thought the Lions outplayed them the entire game, and yet the officiating took everything away from them, and it ended up giving the Cowboys the victory. I tell you, that's just, well, this is probably one of the hardest games to swallow for any sports team other than the Tuck rule that happened in 2001 season with Raiders and Patriots, but like I said, I mean, I hate the Raiders and Patriots, but I'm glad the Raiders got screwed in that one. So it really doesn't matter to me. But for this case and all, I mean, I was hoping the Lions would get that win in Dallas. I mean, in all honesty, Dallas should have lost that game, and that was just unbelievable. The refs gave Dallas the game, and that was just not right. Other than what happened on Wild Card Weekend, pretty much a lot of the games I predicted. I went 4-0 last weekend. And I told you guys last week that Baltimore would beat Pittsburgh, and they did. It was pretty obvious because I knew Pittsburgh had a lot of problems offensive wise going into the wild card game against the Ravens, and the Ravens pretty much have had the Steelers' number in the last 3 years. So it was pretty interesting seeing how Baltimore, and like I said, Baltimore, they kind of look scary right now. They could be on another playoff run. But anyways, other than that, I knew that the Cardinals without no quarterback, I knew Carolina was going to beat them. But actually it was a little bit more of a closer game than I thought. But I did kind of say last week that I knew the Cardinals would at least put up a fight, and they did, but Carolina just ended up winning in the end. And pretty much the Colts and Bengals game, like I said, I knew Indianapolis' offense was better than Cincinnati's. That one was a give me. That didn't surprise me one bit. And it's a shame that Andy Dalton has not won a playoff game yet. So, and I'm surprised that Marvin Lewis is going to come back for another year for the coaching for the Bengals. And I would have thought he would have got the axe after that game, but he didn't. So I don't know. If you're a Bengals fan, that's gotta really upset you. But anyways, enough about last week. Now let's talk about the divisional round. Alrighty, the beginning with the AFC conference. AFC divisional game, the Ravens at the Patriots. Now, in the last 3 playoff meetings between these two teams, which was the 2009 season, 2011, and 12 season, the Ravens are 2 for 3. They're 2 for 3. Their only loss came in the hands in the 2011 season when they lost in the AFC Championship on a missed field goal by Billy Cunnin. I'm pretty sure a lot of Ravens fans hate to relive that moment. But yeah, that was the only lesson. But so far, you got to admit, I mean, this Ravens team has really given the Patriots plenty of problems in the playoffs. And it would not surprise me if it's the same thing. Will this game be close? It might. But the thing about it is, those Ravens teams were completely different. I don't know if this Ravens team can beat the Patriots this time because the Patriots are very healthy right now. The Patriots were not healthy those last 2 seasons when they were in the conference championship when they played the Broncos and the Ravens from 2000 and from 2012. So the Patriots are as healthy as they've ever been, and that's been a huge factor. Health-wise, of key players that were missing from those runs that could have really put in the Patriots in possibly winning another Lombardi trophy. It didn't happen. And yet, right now, going now into this game, you got to wonder now. I mean, the divisional round, like I said, the divisional round is really the best football weekend during the NFL season and the playoffs. Well, like I said, this game, I would say it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a very close game. But because the Patriots are healthy, health-wise now, the Patriots haven't been this healthy in a long time. And I really think if the Patriots stay healthy the rest of this game, I see them beating the Ravens this time. The Ravens, this is not the same team that went in that Super Bowl run. Remember, they don't have key defensive leaders. You know, Ray Lewis is retired and some other players that also moved on. It's going to be tough to say if this 2014 Ravens team is going to go into Foxborough and beat them again. I think this time it's not going to happen. I don't think so. The Patriots are healthy, and they've been on a roll, and I don't think there's going to be any rust factor with this Patriots team. The game might be close, but pretty much you go into the fourth quarter, the Patriots are going to run away with it. I'm going to say the Patriots are a 7-point favorite in this one, and there's no question. I agree with the odds makers on this one. There's no question. I see the Patriots beating the Ravens. Patriots over the Ravens. AFC divisional game. The Colts at the Broncos. Now, the Colts really had done a good job these last 2 years against the Broncos. They played them pretty well in the regular season. And I think this is the first playoff meeting between these two teams. I think. Yeah, it is. It is. The first these two teams are going to meet in the playoffs. Now, Denver is a 7-point favorite in this one. It might be a little bit lower because it just depends right now. Because I know the Broncos are not all 100% healthy, but knowing Peyton Manning and his ambition and how much he wants to win another Lombardi trophy. His ambition and his thrive for greatness is really going to outdo what Andrew Luck and the Colts want to do. I mean, the Colts, this is their second time now in the divisional round. But I think it's kind of hard now when you have to face Peyton Manning. And, you know, Peyton Manning's still pretty good in the playoffs, even though I know his record really doesn't show for it. But when it comes down to crunch time and all going into the to get to the AFC Championship game, there's no question. I got to go with the Denver Broncos here. I know this game is going to be much closer. This will probably be the more closer game than the Ravens and Patriots game. But I think pretty much I see Denver winning this game. I think to me they will have enough to beat the Colts. I know the Colts, this is going to be a tough challenge for Denver because I know not all their players are back health-wise, but I think for this round, I think it's going to be safe to say that I think the Broncos this time will have enough to beat the Colts. But don't be shocked if the Colts, Andrew Luck, and that offense will give the Broncos a heck of a game. I'm pretty certain that this game will be close. No question about it. But pretty much I see the Broncos pretty much winning in the end. I will say the Broncos over the Colts. Now let's get into the NFC. NFC divisional game. The Panthers at the Seahawks. Biggest line so far. Seahawks 11-point favorite in this one. And the Panthers coming off a decent performance against the Cardinals. I think pretty much this is where this dream season pretty much will end for this Carolina Panther team. This is clearly a give me for Seattle, and pretty much with their players rest up health-wise, you know, they're pretty much, there's no way Seattle's going to get any rust in this one. Carolina will try to make it a game, but pretty much going into the second half, Seattle pretty much, I pretty much say they're going to blow out Carolina in this one. I just don't think Carolina has enough. Offense-wise, I think Seattle's defense definitely will be ready for them. And yeah, I agree with the odds makers. I mean, 11 points. I mean, come on. There's no way I see Carolina going in and beating the Seahawks. Seattle's offense and their defense are pretty good. They're my lock for this weekend to go to the NFC Championship game next weekend, pretty much. So yeah, I mean, I just think, well, look, if Carolina's defense was healthy and their offense had more blocking up front, I would say the game would be much closer. But I don't see Seattle losing this game. No question about it. Seattle will win this one. I have the Seahawks over the Panthers, no question. 11-point favorite. I do agree with that. Yeah, pretty much you got to go with the Seahawks here. Seahawks over the Panthers. And the last game, NFC divisional game, of course, the Cowboys at the Packers. If you look at the recent history, the only time this is now, I think, their sixth meeting in the playoffs. Because you have to go back to all the history. Going back to all the history, I mean, the Cowboys pretty much have had the Packers' number. But of course, these were all different teams back then. In all honesty, but well, of course, the last time the Packers beat the Cowboys was, you have to go. Well, yeah, it was the Ice Bowl. Anybody who has lived to see that game on television or pretty much have viewed video archives of it. I mean, like I said, I'm young. I wasn't around that time to even see the Ice Bowl on television. But yeah, well, of course, yeah, the game is in Lambeau Field. Green Bay is a 6-point favorite in this one. That probably it's probably gonna be a lot lower, because I guarantee you this is going to be a tight game. There's no question about it. I don't think I see any way that Green Bay will pull away in this. That Green Bay will blow out the Cowboys. But there's no question. I do agree with the odds makers. Green Bay's the favorite in this one, and I'm going to pick the Packers in this one. There's no question. Now, look, as much as I want to say that Tony Romo needs to make some sort of impact and make a statement here, but I just don't think now with the home field advantage that Lambeau Field has. I mean, the reason why I'm going to say this game's going to be close, the game is on daytime. That actually is going to help the Cowboys. It's definitely going to help the Cowboys big time, because anytime the game would have happened at night, temperatures will drop even more, and the wind chill would be even terrible. I mean, I know it's going to be frigid cold in Green Bay. They're expecting in the minus temperatures, so we could probably see the Ice Bowl Part 2. You never know. But when it comes down to it, this game's definitely going to be close. There's no question about it. The running game for the Cowboys needs to be effective in this one. And like I said, if everybody stays healthy on the Cowboys team, they'll definitely give the Packers a game. But I just think with the Packers defense, I think it's going to be enough to stop DeMarco Murray. There's no question. I like the Packers in this one. You got to go with Green Bay in this one. Packers definitely, pretty much, it'll be a close game, but I think the Packers will pull away in the fourth quarter. No question about it. I like the Packers over the Cowboys. All right, everybody, that's it. So I hope everybody enjoys the divisional round. Hopefully this is a good weekend for football. As they always said, the divisional round is always the best weekend in the NFL playoffs, but we'll wait and see about that. Enjoy watching all these games, and of course, I will see you all next week when I talk about the conference championship games. And until then, take care, and enjoy this playoff football weekend.